Welcome into the Meltdown. Today, plenty of headlines to discuss as we've gotten the first social media reactions from George Miller's Furiosa, which opens up theatrically in just a few weeks. Disney CEO Bob Iger has spoken with investors today about the new strategy for the MCU, all while DC is still piecing together their cinematic future under James Gunn, as there's a little bit more of a push to include Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. And as John prepares for yet another shot at the Meltdown Triple Threat Trivia title tomorrow against two very notable opponents, Lunce's list profiles the 5 video game bosses that have had the most iconic look over the years. It's all happening here on the Meltdown, presented by MyBookie and broadcasting live from the Culver studio.
Two big balls in a tiny studio, teaching you and me about everything they know to make sound. A meltdown, it's the meltdown, time for the meltdown, coming for the meltdown, let's start the show.
Welcome into this lovely land that we call Meltdonia, and we appreciate you being here right at 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern, every single weekday as we look to bring you the latest in entertainment news and pop culture headlines. I am your host here of Meltdonia, Tim Melton. We appreciate all of your thumbs up support here during the live stream, as well as your subscription. We are looking to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the summer season, and we are on our way there with your support. Mr. John Lunsford makes up the other half of the Meltdown. John, how are you doing on this Tuesday?
I'm good. How's everybody doing?
Doing excellent.
Good.
We've got Tyler Johns in the building today. Tyler, how you holding up, man?
I'm good. I just got my second wind. I closed my eyes for a little bit, laid my head that Rocky on the pillow that Rocky is now got in his lap. But
which side of the pillow did you have your face on? That's what everyone wants to know.
What that is.
And the pillow wasn't in my lap when he was lying down.
That's the part he left out there.
Yeah. It's not a pillow, Tyler.
Tyler was in the fetal position just a few moments ago there in this chair, and that's just something that I could never do in that chair. We both have different statures, and I could never curl up and get comfortable in a chair the way that you just did. But
I curled up. I wasn't that comfortable.
What's interesting about these chairs was their first thing was, what could we do to not make this for sitting?
Right.
I have an idea. You want to do sharp edges? Yeah. All right, good. You want to have it lean back at like a 192 degree angle? Yeah. So
the chairs are not
display
comfortable.
piece.
No. Well, the
They're
cushion, it's just you can't get in a position to lean back or lean. You have to sit on a bench in the basketball game. That's what you're doing. You're sitting up.
You make the most of it, though, Rocky. You make
Thank
it look
you.
good. There are a lot of guests that come in, and they do go with the, like, Reed likes to go with the, I'm going to lean all the way back. I'm not going to let the chair
That's what I have to do.
dictate me. I'm
Yeah,
going
but then
to.
you see it on the playback, you're like,
Yeah.
that is
Not a good
very,
look.
very revealing.
Gosh, I hope Reed is not watching.
I have issues. I'm talking about myself.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I mean, now I feel like the bad
You should
guy.
sit directly across and have a perfect view of it every single time, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that. I like when Ush wears the short
About to
shorts
say.
in.
Ush does not care.
When
He
he
is
wears
the
the short shorts in. It's,
Prime example. First time he sat in here, I was like, let's sit up a little bit and cover
I'll
yourself with the pillow.
I'll
and-
recross my legs.
It reminds me, we did a retro trailer reaction of The Thing, which is up on our channel right now, but we also did one for Alien, and that is the latest one that is up. I believe it's up right now currently, John.
should
but
be, yes.
We don't need anybody to watch it right now, maybe after this. If you like the movie Alien from 1979, we did a deep dive on that and a panel discussion in our retro trailer reaction series. We will dive deep into the Dune popcorn bucket to retrieve another movie later this week that will go into our retro trailer reaction series. But enough housekeeping. Let's get right into the show. And I want to start off with a new edition of 10 with Tim. I've got 10 questions. We've got a couple of people here wanting to participate. And I think we should get into question number 1. John, do you consider yourself to be a decent bowler? Do you consider yourself to be a decent bowler?
I'm okay. Yeah, I'll say so.
You know, everything we've started to compete in lately, you have proclaimed that you are either going to dominate or that you are going to lose. There is no middle ground.
Yeah.
And right now it sounds like you're taking a middle ground with your bowling stance.
I am very middle ground. I could bowl a 40 and I could bowl a 200 and anywhere in between. I
You
mean, I am
you
all
enjoy
over the place.
bowling though?
I do enjoy bowling. I have really bad form with my fingers. So I don't grip it with the 3 fingers like you're supposed to. I grip it with these 2 and then spin from there, and I nearly break my middle finger.
You get the glove from the vending machine.
Yeah, I nearly break my middle finger after like 1 game, but I'm committed and I'm going to try to win. And, I do okay.
We have James in the chat, by the way, that says, hello, fellow Meltdonians. Hope everyone is well. Hope you're doing well, James. We also have Smuff that sounds like Scott Cochran was a big fan of those chairs. Yeah. I'm not doing the Scott Cochran impersonation, but
I heard your voice. Yeah,
it's very painful there. Tyler, do you consider yourself to be a decent bowler?
Not particularly. Like John, I could score pretty high, 180 to 200, or I could bowl a 40 or 50.
Has it ever been on your bucket list to bowl a perfect game? Has that ever been something you wanted to do in your life?
Not particularly. It was for Wii Sports bowling back in the day. Did
you ever accomplish that feat?
I did. I got the gold ball.
Yes.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's how you level up.
Bowling ball.
I remember Wii Sports bowling back in my day. It was a lot of fun. I still think Wii Sports bowling is a lot of fun whenever
it holds up.
It does.
The boxing was good too.
I didn't like the boxing.
Tennis
at all.
was awesome.
Tennis was good.
Tennis was
Tennis
great.
was good, yeah.
Baseball was It was okay. It was fun. Rockstar, do you consider yourself to be a good bowler?
I treat it like mini golf or putt-putt or whatever. I have fun for 2 frames or 2 holes, and then I just quit. And my form is I'm left-handed, but when I bowl, I do it right-handed, and I hold it like this, and I flick my wrist like that.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying it's good.
Does it hold up the entire?
It's super slow. It takes forever to get to the pins, but also
It's got backspin on it.
Yeah, well, terrible. Like it's a terrible date idea because one of you is always up. One of you is always like, so you're telling me you're from. It's your turn, by the way, Tim. You're telling me when you get back, tell me where you're from.
Yeah.
It's just that kind of thing. It was like when you're with a group, like you're in a conversation with something, and they're like, Lunceford, come on, dude, it's your turn, let's go. So it's just like it's always stressful, and I don't have fun bowling.
There are a number of great bowling movies and a number of great movies that feature a bowling scene. My personal favorite is not Kingpin, which I think a lot of people would go with.
Yeah.
My personal favorite is Uncle Buck.
Oh. I thought you were going to say Mystery Men.
That's not.
I was expecting Big Lebowski.
No, I'm not saying it's a bowling movie, but it is a movie that predominantly features a bowling scene.
There will be blood.
There's that, yes. But when he tells the little girl if the goal was to get as close to the pin without knocking it over, you would be world champion. Love that line. Love that movie. Next question. What do you remember most, Tyler, about your very first bike? What do you remember most about your first bike?
How much I didn't really ride it, I guess. I was never really into riding bikes.
Never big bike fan, huh?
Nope.
You never saw that and said, this is my ticket to independence. I'm going to go around the entire neighborhood.
Nope.
Never.
Nope.
Okay.
Didn't like bikes.
Got it. Rockstar, we're going to eventually find something that Tyler likes.
Well,
What do you remember most about your first bicycle?
it was silver, and I remember it was a kid's bike, training wheels taken off, and the pedals were your brakes. I never got into the gears so I had a friend that lived. This was in 6th grade. He lived, a mile away, but we would walk home from school together, and it was free taco day at Taco Bell, and we lived about a mile from, and so we decided we're going to go, and I had my bike that had brakes on the wheels, and I didn't wear a helmet, and I was going to race him. I was like, I'm going to beat you to it, and we were straight away by my neighborhood, and I flipped over the handlebars.
Ooh.
And landed. I was one of those things where you see your life flash before your eyes. Because I remember, I had my eyes closed, flipping over the handlebars, and just like, I hope I don't hit the gravel. I hope I don't hit the gravel. I hope I don't hit the gravel. Get up, and he slams on the brakes. Like, are you okay? And I stand up, like, yeah. And I started crying because right when I lifted my arm, I broke my collarbone. We did, and I had scrapes and everything. So that's I remember sleeping on the couch that day, and your sweat with on your cuts, and you had to take that shirt off, and that fabric sticks to those cuts. That was my bike story. And that the next day, Kurt Cobain committed suicide.
Suddenly, suddenly Tyler has a better bike story than Rockstar.
But I stuck with that bike. I don't think I ever got a bike with gears. I stuck with that bike. I was too big for it. It was tiny, and I still used the pedals for brakes. Like, don't you get a real bike? I like this one. It's for like a 5th grader, and you're in 10th grade.
John, what do you remember most about your very first bike?
My dad had the exact same thing happen so my dad is like a legit cyclist and has done races all over the place and everything. And he had an incident happen where he rides his bike around around Homewood and cities around here. and hit a dog late at night. Like a black dog came out and couldn't see it, hit it, flipped over the handlebars, and he has a bone sticking up in his shoulder right now. Just like if he ever gets like in a bad car wreck, like gets in a bad position to where like forceful.
Way to go, Tim.
It could be a thing.
It's supposed to be fun.
The story you're telling is the exact same. Every time I think about bicycles, that's all I can think. Because I don't really ride
scary
bikes anymore because I live on a hill and it's not worth it. But my first
It's
bike,
not worth
I think was black and it had the foot pedal brakes too. I kind of got into it mostly because my dad was into it. I really got into riding bikes for a little bit, but my first one I don't remember much about because I ended up kind of evolving past it pretty quickly.
I didn't think that was going to be such a depressing set of answers there, but somehow all three of you lived
I'll
up
get
to
him to show it to you sometime.
Please. Question number 3. John, would you personally be excited to see Austin Powers 4 be announced?
That's one of the, we talk about movies that shouldn't get sequels, shouldn't be remade, all that kind of stuff. One of the franchises, and I don't know if we've ever done this, but if I had a Lunce's list of franchises that absolutely need to keep going that have stopped, that would be in contention for number 1. Because I think leaving it off with Seth Green being Dr. Evil at the end of the third one, spoiler alert.
You're good on that one.
It's a little...
You just spoiled Goldmember.
It's a little old, but I think that would have left off for him being a perfect bad guy. I think it would have made a lot of sense to keep going, and I get having a trilogy and kind of calling it a day, but I feel like it was a franchise that could have kept going. It could have ultimately been successful. Keep going, and I wish it would even now. I feel like it'd be cool to have like almost like an old man Austin
Does seem
Powers
like there's
now.
a lot of money on the table there
I
if they
agree.
wanted to take an opportunity to go for it, but I think the Love Guru damaged Mike Myers and his confidence level so much.
Yeah.
And he's talked about it, that it destroyed him to where now he only comes in every now and then to play a bit part. He did play Dr. Evil on SNL not too long ago, but will we see
He did
Austin
that
Powers
Netflix
4? Who
show.
knows?
I don't think any of us watched that Netflix show that he did.
No.
No, I only saw the clip of Mike Myers' voice popping up as Shrek to help Mike Myers.
Rockstar,
Yep.
would you be excited to hear there's an Austin Powers 4 in development?
No, because I saw a recent picture of Mike Myers, and he's aged so much, and I'm one of those ones where I like the Austin Powers movies. I don't like Austin Powers. I like Goldmember. I like Dr. Evil. Those characters, I'm not a big... The Austin Powers character was not my favorite, but Dr. Evil was also, even though it's based on Lorne Michaels, I get that. And Goldmember, and Fat Bastard, I love those characters, but he's just... That most recent, it's just sad to see people getting so old.
I think you'd be getting all those characters back, though.
You
in
would be
some
like, it's
capacity.
I don't want to. It's almost like when Austin Powers, I was like, I just go to the bathroom.
No.
I was like,
Austin-
it's a good moment to just kind of sit down.
We spoke about it, I believe, on this show. Jerry Springer, when he passed away, I talked about how the Austin Powers segment on the Jerry Springer segment in Austin Powers, how funny that was, and it still holds up, I think. But for people who maybe weren't alive during that time of the Jerry Springer show at its height, it maybe doesn't have the same appeal.
Oh,
Tyler, what is your opinion about Austin Powers 4? Would you be excited to hear that it is in development?
I would, but like with a cautious optimism. I would be scared that it ends up like a Dumb and Dumber 2 or something like that. But I
Definitely
would love
fear
to
with
see more Austin Powers.
Give me your Lunce's list, John, on ranking the 3 movies. Because I think Goldmember's the worst.
Oh, I'll disagree with you, Tim.
See, I feel like most people like the second the best. I don't know, but for me, it's 1, 3, 2.
I think I'm 2, 1, 3. But that's where I'll leave it there. And I hear Tyler's a big fan of Goldmember. Okay, question number 4.
I didn't hate it.
Do you hold the opinion, Tyler, that Christmas tree cakes are good year-round?
I don't really like Christmas tree cakes.
Gosh.
We're talking about the little snack cakes, right?
We're talking about the little snack cakes, yes.
Yeah,
Tyler,
I don't like those. I don't eat those.
Tyler, I agree with you.
you don't
Thank
like
you,
them?
John.
Not
Not
a
a big
fan?
fan. Not a big fan.
I don't like them either.
I mean, they're okay, but
They
they're
leave
just
a
kind of
film
whatever.
on the top of your mouth. It's just like after that bite, once you be like, what is that? That's
Guys,
just-
Christmas tree cakes are great.
Okay.
I don't know what's wrong. I would.
so if we had a box, you would have all 12. Like I don't think any of us would.
Yeah, look at that as a positive. You
Yeah.
get the whole box and somebody brought some.
Guys, I would not eat all 12 because John, Leslie and her board certified team at Way to Wellness is
Good guy.
teaching us better eating habits, including not eating Christmas tree cakes year round.
At least not eating all 12 of them when we get the box of them. Yes, there's Tim weighing in. About to pop up here weighing in as well. We are over 65 pounds combined down, and now that I'm over my surgery, we'll go back here in about a week and weigh in again as you can see the smiles on our face because of the poundage that we've dropped. Go to planforme.com. You too can get that consultation with Leslie and her whole board certified team. And you can see, hey, what's the plan that works for you? Just like there's a separate plan that works for me, works for Tim, works for Jim Dunaway, works for my dad. We're all involved with it there with Leslie and her whole board certified team. So go to planforme.com, learn more about weight and wellness, and start that path to healthy living.
We have Sick Nasty Heat in the chat saying those Christmas tree cakes are great all year round, and he's bringing them to the next poker night. We'll see.
Mike, you and Tim can eat them all night long.
I'm bringing sardines. Have fun.
Lord knows Scoobs ain't bringing cookies.
That's right.
We've got Boomer in the chat who says, Little Debbie's. Oh, I can't read that. Come on, Boomer. Don't make us ban you. Gosh sakes. Anyway, I think he's a fan of the Christmas tree cakes. We've got Smuff who says, Christmas tree cakes are a Little Debbie goat contender with Nutty Buddies. So,
Nutty Buddies are great.
I don't like Nutty Buddies.
I like Nutty Buddies.
I'm Nick
fine.
Saban. I'm with the oatmeal cream pies.
I like
Oatmeal
oatmeal
cream pies are
cream
good.
pies. Yeah.
Okay.
Swiss cake roll.
Next question.
Those are good too.
Rockstar, do you
Yes.
enjoy the music of John Mayer?
Okay.
Oh gosh, there's a bigger story here than the
I
box.
think you're going to have the same answer to this that I did.
He's got his own channel on Sirius. He is a great interview. He's very interesting. He's very aware of his talent, I would say. Hate his voice. Hate it. He is an amazing guitar player. Like, he is an aficionado. Like, he is incredible guitar. And I feel hearing an interview with him saying, like, he's torn because you do have fans that want to go see him that, like, dude, he's an incredible blues guitar player. He can do jazz and stuff like that. But then you got the girls and stuff that want to hear Daughters and Bodies in Wonderland. So he's like, you'll go off, and I remember seeing him live where he did like a blues jam with his band that was like 8 minutes long, and you can just see girls like, oh my God, this is awful, but he's loving it. And it's just like, it's a guy that's torn where I'm successful at writing pop songs. What I really want to be is Stevie Ray Vaughan. I think.
So you don't think he's very respectful of the people who buy tickets to his
No,
shows?
no.
Is that what you're saying?
No, I see he's torn with it. Like he said, he's so sick. He's like, because sometimes you like, because you two, like, if I was I'm a great rapper,
Right.
but I'm also a great Christian song singer. I have two audiences. Now I'm like, well, who's going to be more impressed in Birmingham, Alabama? My rapping style, because I really want to do that tonight, or my Christian music. And for him, you're torn because like there's going to be people that are like so bored, but the majority of the people are female listeners, so you got to appeal to them doing your hits like Daughters and. I don't
So
know.
he has to constantly battle between musician
Yes.
or entertainer.
Because he is an amazing, it's very underrated guitar player. If you see him play, like, incredible.
Tyler, are you a fan of John Mayer's music? You've been a fan of nothing else so far.
I guess that'll continue because I've never liked John Mayer.
Okay, thank you, Tyler. What if it was John X Mayer? Would you like that? That's the anime version of John Mayer.
You still say
What?
you still say it, John Mayer, but yeah.
I know. I'm just making an anime reference. John Mayer.
I mean, Rocky and I have the same answer. I didn't realize how good of a guitar player he was until the Fall Out Boy cover of Beat It that he played the guitar on. That was incredible. And that's when I started realizing, oh, there's little hidden gems of like John Mayer being a really awesome guitar player. I don't care at all for his music. He falls in the Taylor Swift line of trashing, in songs. So when it comes to his personal life, he's not highly regarded by a lot of people. But
As Ryan Brown says, he has a gimmick. He just writes songs. That's his gimmick.
but his guitar playing is good, so I can respect that talent.
Yeah.
I don't care otherwise.
Smuff says Mayer's really good live, amazing with the trio setting. He's got broad appeal. He goes a little too poppy for some folks too.
There you go.
We have Steven who says, I loved seeing him with Dead and Company. So we've got Brock who seems to be a fan of him, saying he's got talent. Let's go to question number 6. I really like John Mayer's last album, by the way, Sob Rock. I really love that album from start to finish.
Sure.
Next question. How many hats, Tyler, would you say you own in your life? How many hats would you say you
Currently or
Currently.
okay.
Do the knit beanies count too?
Yes.
Okay, shoot.
Wow.
Probably gonna be at like 7 or 8 then.
Oh, 7 or 8?
That's it.
Yeah, probably.
I was
yeah.
prepared. I thought you were going to say 70 or 80 for a second.
Oh no, probably
7 or
like 8, maybe 9. I'm not sure.
So if I was to give you $100 for every hat that you owned, you would have less than $1,000 being given to you, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Rockstar, how many hats would you say you currently own? I'm not sure I've ever seen you in a hat.
I wear hats, so I'll be in a hat tomorrow because we'll be at the Regions. I have a hat from my wife's ex business. I have 2 next round hats.
I didn't know where that was going for a second.
Yeah, I was trying to think
I
of how to
mostly
word
see you
it.
wearing a creature hat.
That's the hat I wear because I like a gray hat, and I have my lawn mowing hat. That's just disgusting.
Get a new one for Father's Day. Come on.
It's just like that's the only time I wear it. Like I bought 2 of the same hat, and it was this kind of just. I was like, I like the style of this hat, but this is going to be my lawn mowing hat because it smells like ass. So I'll probably have 1 beanie. So I'd say I have 5-6 hats.
5 or 6. All right, John, I think you're about to blow this out of the water, aren't you?
If
How
you
many
went,
hats?
if you went through my house and really dug, because there's hats all over the place.
By the way, I'm the only one in the studio not wearing a hat today.
That is correct.
Yeah. If you went through my house and actually dug around every room and pulled out all the hats, it'd be over 100. It'd be triple digits.
Over 100 hats.
Yeah.
And a lot of those are Titans hats that you refuse to wear now.
I got probably 5 Titans
Why
hats.
don't you donate your Titans hats to me? Because I'm still a part of the fandom.
The truth is, only like 1 or 2 actually fit.
Oh, okay.
Like our heads. Like we both have the same
we both
problem.
have giant melons.
Like you're wearing a New Era hat, I'm wearing a Nike hat. We could go buy these exact same hats in the store, and they wouldn't fit.
no,
Like, it's weird.
I walk into stores to try on hats, and none of them fit. I finally found one in Gatlinburg, Tennessee,
Love it.
that just
Actually, we have a
barely
Titans hat from
fit. Just barely fit. And I've been able to stretch it out to where now it's a perfect fit. But for a while there,
Give you
it was
a headache for a
painful.
while.
It gave me a headache for like 3 months.
I'm
but-
earning this hat.
Oh, man.
I bought one at Gatlinburg too. It's kind of like that, but it has more of like a mesh back here instead of just like the normal fabric. But I have a lot of hats.
When I first got here to Disrupt Media and the next round, there was a wall of hats in this room.
Yep.
And I was told by Reed, go ahead and grab you a hat. And I was like, none of those are going to fit me. And he's like, oh, no, some of them fit Lunsford. There on the top right corner, there was 3 hats that fit.
Very small grouping.
And I tried it on. I was like, oh, my gosh, this hat fits. And I got 1 of each. And I wear them from time to time here on the show.
I never could wear a next round hat. I'd have to wear it backwards. I could cram it on my head if I wore it backwards somehow because the brim right here, well, like the brim right here, because of being like hard, like cardboard, it would hit weird. But if I turn around backwards, just the shape of my head, it ultimately would end up being okay. But I hate adjustable hats and like the snapback, and that's what everything we had. And so once we got those, and somebody luckily in the chat was like, hey, I'm just like you. I have really bad problem with that certain brand of hats. Try these. And he sent me a link, and I gave him to Reed, and Reed went and got them. And so when Tim came in, it's like, those are our hats.
They're high quality
Those are
hats.
just our hats over there.
If you buy a hat from the next round store, I promise you it will deliver. I've been very happy with the hats.
But Nick says only get New Era 3930. I'm kind of with him. Like, this is Nike only because Alabama's Nike, but like that's what that hat is right there. But even still, I'd say 15% of them legit fit. Even though I could go through that stack, let's say like a lids or something like that, I could go through a stack of 20 of them and maybe 2 of them would fit. It's weird how it's just, and they're all large, extra large size. It's just weird how like sometimes it just doesn't work.
I thought about for a while just starting to wear cowboy hats because I thought that may be the only thing that fits.
I wasn't gonna go that far.
Please.
I forgot Tyler was here. Tyler, thank you for me. I'm going to go to Tyler next on this one. Tyler, what is the oddest celebrity interaction that you've ever had?
Oddest celebrity interaction. The only one I could think of is meeting Flava Flav when I was like 7.
That's a pretty good one to start
pretty
off
good.
with. Yes.
I told it on Backroom maybe a year ago. I was staying at a Hilton or a Hampton or something in Nashville. And Flava Flav was in the lobby. I have no idea what he was doing in Nashville at the time.
he did either.
The CMAs were going on that weekend, but I don't think he would have been there for the Country Music Awards.
What year was this?
Like 2007?
2007? Okay. I could have seen that potentially happen, but how did he say any of his iconic phrases, or?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I just got a quick picture with him and said hello.
Oh,
Did he have the clock on?
He did have a clock on.
he was nice?
Yeah, he was a nice guy.
Okay. All right. I was hoping that was going somewhere, and it just ended up with, like, do you still have the photo if we were to, like, want to request the photo to be able to show it on the show?
I don't, unfortunately. I don't.
Okay.
So it's almost like I never met Flava Flav at all.
Let's get you back with Flava Flav, and let's recreate the photo that does not now exist. Let me ask you, Rockstar, what is the oddest celebrity interaction that you've ever had?
I've had a lot. I'm going to do 2. I used to play at the rooftop. Lance and I would do this thing at the rooftop at Redmont on Thursdays, and I took the elevator to the top, and I got to the elevator and was with the guy, and I kept looking at him. He was familiar, and we kind of talked. We did a little small talk, and then I played. He watched me set up. He's by himself drinking a beer. Like, guy, I just know who this guy is. Who is he? And I played Interstate Love Song by Stone Temple Pilots, and he kind of gave me a little. And then at the end of the night, I'm breaking my stuff down. He goes down the elevator with me, and it's the dude from Gotham. From
Ben McKenzie?
Ben McKenzie. It was nice. He was super shy. He was a nice guy. Like, it was just so odd that, like, we...
Guy from the OC.
Yeah, guy from the OC. Ben McKenzie. But, like, he's a lot shorter in person. But he was a nice guy. The best one, I think I have, the oddest, when we did the show at Jocks from 6 to 9, so I had to do some production, like, at 5:30 in the morning. And we had 3 production rooms. They're always with the lights off because there's hardly anybody there at 5:30 in the morning. And so I go to Prod 1, open the door, turn the light on, and there's a man sitting in a chair, asleep. And I go, "Excuse me." He lifts his head. It's Jimmy Walker. Dynamite from Good Times. He's like, "I'm sorry." He was doing a guest spot on, I don't know if Matt Murphy's show or something. And so I was like, "I just got to do some production. I'm just going to do this real quick." And he's like,
Yeah.
It's all right. It's all right. And he put his head back down. And I did the production, and I was like, "It was nice to meet you." And he's like, "You too." And he put his head back down. I was like, that was my interaction
That
with
is
Jimmy
the
Walker.
exact same interaction that I had with Tyler 10 minutes before the show.
Yeah.
Today. It was right there in that chair. Flava Flav. All right.
Yeah, boy.
Can we please get a Flava Flav hotkey to where every time Tyler says something that's like really dynamic that we play?
I may have to
Tyler,
go to Pittsburgh. I don't know.
there's occasionally times where I look and Tyler looks at me and he's like, "I hate you, Tim." And this is one of those days. So we appreciate Tyler being here. John, what is the oddest celebrity interaction that you've ever had?
I got to think of odd. The thing is, we meet so many people in this industry, especially at radio. Like in radio, we would meet people all the time at the radio station and everything. But
My answer, by the way, is probably Deontay Wilder. But anyway, you continue.
that was a good one. I'm probably gonna go. I randomly mentioned this the other day. I don't even remember what we were talking about, but Hannah Simone, that was on New Girl, that was like the best friend on New Girl. Yeah. Going to China with her is a random.
You say it like you went together.
Interaction. I mean, we were part of a group, but
You've teased this story in the past.
It's
before.
just random, and it's odd. So the whole one is odd. It's like this was before that show. It was before she kind of became more of a star. I mean, it's not that she's a giant star or anything, but I don't know. That's probably it. But there's rarely situations where I'm not doing it on purpose, but that's something that's like, oh, this person actually ended up being kind of big, and I've been around them.
Nice. Let's move on to the next question here. If you were going to become a full-time referee, John, what sport would you choose to officiate for the remainder of your working days?
I mean, it'd have to be football. I've already been a football referee. I know the sport inside and out, and I can do it.
For those that are unaware, Tim Lunceford, the father of John, who's already been brought up as a cyclist today,
When's he coming on the show, by the way?
would show up to games in which John was officiating to heckle him while he was officiating the games.
Hold on. It's not even just that.
That's amazing.
When I went off to college, so I played high school football, and I went to Alabama at first. I ended up going to Birmingham Southern to play football, but I went to Alabama for a year before that. And so to make some money, the guy I got my allergy shots from, one of the nurses there, was a high school football referee. And he knew I played football. The whole reason I got allergy shots was because of the grass and everything playing football. And so when I went to college, he's like, hey, you want some extra money? I actually do Tuscaloosa area high school football games. And, you know, we make a couple $100 on a Friday night. And I was like, well, yeah, I'll do that. Why not? It keeps me involved in the game that I love. And so I signed up. It was in the Druid City Association is what they called it. And we did AISA games, which is the Alabama Independent School Association. So it's not the big high school athletic association. It's like small private schools. And so imagine going to a small private school that played 8-man football. So it was 8-on-8. It wasn't 11-on-11. And it's the kind of school, I won't name the school, but it's the kind of school that when you show up, the cheerleaders are wearing dresses all the way down to their ankles because they don't want to show anything. Of course. It's that kind of school. And so I'm sitting there doing a game as the line judge on the home side, and my dad is in the stands like cussing and screaming at the top of his lungs at the referee who wasn't even doing anything. Like, I could just be standing there and he's heckling me. I wouldn't even throw a flag. It would be on the other team and he's on the home sideline heckling me. And it is like the most, conservative Christian, very, well-kept school. And my dad is just throwing haymaker after haymaker at me, the referee. And it was a little embarrassing.
Oh, I can say that.
I'm not saying your dad likes to cause a scene.
No.
But there's just example after example after example of it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Tyler.
Has to be football, though.
You're going to become a full-time referee. What sport would you choose to officiate? I assume it's not basketball.
Oh, no. I'm going to go with the other kind of football. I used to be a soccer referee in high school when it was off-season or if I just didn't have any games that week. So,
would you like to tell your story about being a basketball official for us here at the next round?
He wasn't very good.
Oh, well, you see.
That's it.
You got a bunch of people who like to heckle the referee, like Tim here. I had to tee him up.
You threatened to
throw him out. So you threatened to throw somebody out.
I did.
Tyler was very honest about not knowing exactly what a foul was in basketball, but our sales director, Kelsey, got mauled underneath the basket by Ryan Brown. I'm talking about, should have filed a police report, actually. That's how bad it was. And Tyler didn't blow the whistle. And he made the argument that, I didn't really see anything. I'm like, well, what are you out here for? Me and Tyler not having the best day. Tyler, by the end of the show, we're going to become best friends. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, we'll see about that.
We'll see.
Flav. All right. Rocky.
Yeah.
You're going to become a referee. What sport?
I would do tennis because you get to sit in that high chair and an umbrella. And you go, goes out. It's out. Shh,
are you arguing with me? All right, that's a point.
Yeah. Be quiet. Please be quiet.
I now want to see Rockstar cast in the movie Challengers. That's what I want to see.
Boomer agrees with you, Rocky.
Yeah, you just sit there.
So you can sit there and drink beer.
Do this nonstop. You're like, yeah, that hit the net. You don't believe? I'll go to the technology. I was wrong. Okay. It didn't hit the net. Next point. Love.
Next question. Do you ever take the time, Tyler, to turn spare change into dollar bills? Do you ever gather up all your spare change and then try to go turn it into actual dollar bills?
I used to do that a lot more, but I don't really have spare change that often anymore. I usually just use my card. So
I think that is something that a lot of people maybe have grown accustomed to here. Rockstar, do you ever try to turn spare change into dollar bills?
No, because it takes 4 quarters to fill your car with air, tires with air, which is great, and I always have some spare quarters. I always have spare quarters. I don't care about nickels and dimes and pennies. But no, I've never. I think I've done the Coinstar thing 2 or 3 times, maybe.
I've never done it. I've always been intrigued by it. I've never actually gone through with it.
But it's interesting. You see this thing, it's like, that's probably like $10, and it turns out to be like $47. Like, wow. How much do they take off? They take 22 of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Exactly.
Yep.
A lot of work there.
That 30% fee sucks.
Yeah, have I done it? Yes, I have done that multiple times. The last time I did it was a long time ago. I am more of the mindset now because outside of gambling, like going to the casino and poker and stuff like that, I don't use cash for anything. I have to make sure that I go get cash before I go to like Tunica or Vegas or anywhere like that because I just absolutely have no cash sitting around. But I'm of the mindset now that if I go somewhere and something's $4.27 and I give them a $5, I don't care where it is, where I am, whatever's happening, keep the change. I don't want it. I'd rather that 73 cents or, all right, yeah, 73 cents of $4.27. I'd rather that extra change go in your pocket as a tip or go to the company that if I'm going to pay $4.27 for whatever I'm buying, I'll pay $5 for it. and just call it a day because I don't want that extra change rattling around my pocket. Or I'm just going to go leave it in the hotel room if I'm on the road. And if I come home, that money will never see the light of day again. I'll put it somewhere and it'll never appear again.
We have a mutual friend that does want their change back, but always says keep the pennies, doesn't want the pennies. And I found that to be like, it ends up causing a lot of confusion when he ends up telling them that, because they're like, oh, I don't know. It's like, no, I want my change back. Just keep the pennies.
Keep
I don't
those
want the
two pennies. It's like, okay.
I just showed them, here, you do it. You sort it out.
All right, next question. This will be our last one. What percentage of the time, Rockstar, do you order dessert after the waiter or waitress asks if you have left any room for dessert?
If my wife is with me, probably 90% of the time.
Oh, she's a dessert fiend.
No, here's the thing.
Oh, okay.
What upsets me for Fatty Boy here is that she wants something and we'll agree, like, I just don't want nothing coconut, and we'll mutually agree on something. She will have a bite. Oh my God. That is like the best chocolate cake I've ever had in my life. Done. And so I'm like, she does not.
You turn into Schwarzenegger?
Lightning McQueen must be found at all costs. I end up eating the whole dessert. So that's the problem. And she's the one that the waiter will come up and say, can we see a dessert menu? Like, damn it, why do we do this? And she'll order, wow, lava cake. I'd love to get this. Like, damn it. And I'll eat a whole lava cake minus one little bite.
So you feel like you fall for it every time, or do you actually like falling for it?
She calls the shots, and I'll just be like, okay, here we go.
Smart man.
Fatty got a fat.
Tyler, what percentage of the time do you order dessert after the waiter or waitress asks if you've left any room for dessert?
Maybe like 5 to 10% of the time. I usually don't order dessert. I'm usually the type that ends up having to take some of my main entree home with me.
Gotcha. So you really have left no room for dessert.
Yeah, I usually don't leave any room.
Okay.
I'd probably say 10% of the time, but it's only at places where I know like at certain restaurants, I want X dessert. And like, if I can't get that, then it's an
Footlong
absolute
cookie?
No. But for the most part, it's no. At any new place, it's always no, unless I know like I'm specifically coming for the dessert.
Okay. I'm trying to think about the last time I ordered dessert at the restaurant.
Well, it's like the thing, if it's your anniversary or something like that, or your wife's birthday, is it you have to get dessert at the restaurant? If it's your anniversary, it seems like it's weird that's like, okay, we have to do this because it is a special occasion.
Thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's odd.
Have to go with it. All right, that's going to do it for 10 with Tim. Appreciate all of you being honest. We've all learned more about each other, and I think we had some fun laughs along the way. Let's get into some headlines today, as we have still more information coming out following the roast of Tom Brady on Netflix this past weekend. Jeff Ross has come out and denied that Tom Brady got pissed off over that Robert Kraft massage joke. Very different. Even though Brady told him, don't say that blank again. This is what Ross had to say, quote, "That's his dad. Robert Kraft is like a father figure to him. He was just showing his love for Robert Kraft, and Robert Kraft loved it. We had a great talk afterwards. He was so happy that I gave him a shout out and a salute." John, you were buying into yesterday the fact that Robert Kraft and Tom Brady were both probably legitimately pissed off about this line of jokes from Jeff Ross during the comedy special that was done live on Netflix. Do you believe this is Jeff Ross trying to play cleanup, or do you actually believe Jeff Ross when he says, no, we all joked about it backstage after. It was a really fun time?
I think it's him trying to play cleanup. I do believe all of their legacies are all tied together, and if one goes down, the whole ship's going to go down with all of them. So, I mean, I don't think it plays well to fake that. I don't really see the benefit of faking that. Him going out there and be like, you can't say that again. So I feel like it actually was a real. Now after the fact, they can all play it off or whatever. But
Brady is smart enough to know that if he really wanted this not to become something that was talked about over and over and over again, that maybe you don't get up there and get in Jeff Ross's ear during a hot mic event and tell him.
But it seems like off of this. And it seems like Jeff Ross's reaction wasn't like, okay, like he would have played it off more like scripted, as opposed to he was just kind of like, okay, and like moved on. It was like a nervous like, oh, you just told me that kind of. I thought I could say whatever I wanted to.
You're adding fuel to it when you're saying, don't you talk about that like to a comedian. It's like, oh, now I got to double down.
Right.
Like exactly. I know what pisses you off.
Exactly. Let's go to this one. Michelle Yeoh will star in Amazon Prime Video's Blade Runner 2049 sequel series, Blade Runner 2099. Plot details are being kept under wraps, but sources say Yo will play a Blade Runner near the end of her life named Olwen. The series was ordered at Amazon in September of 2022. It serves as a sequel to both the original Blade Runner film and the follow-up film, Blade Runner 2049. These are films that you absolutely adore, John. You appreciate both of these films for what they are, especially Blade Runner 2049.
I do, and I like Michelle Yeoh overall. Just won an Oscar a couple of years ago from one of my favorite movies of all time.
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Yeah. I could see this being cool. I mean, I think Ridley Scott is still behind it. So
you're going to watch it?
Oh, no, I'm 100% going to watch it. I'm just, will it be good? I don't know, but that's a good actress, I think, to put behind it.
Are you a fan of the Blade Runner movies, Tyler?
I actually have never seen Blade Runner or Blade Runner 2049.
Gosh, please don't be in the popcorn bucket. I beg of you not to have put Blade Runner into the popcorn bucket because I can't stand watching that movie. I do not like Blade Runner.
I have not
at all.
seen either as well. I've seen snippets of the original when I was younger, but did not see the 6-hour one with.
I still need
Ryan
to watch
Gosling.
2049, but I've never liked the original Blade Runner.
I didn't put it in the bucket. It's okay.
Thank you. You say that with a smirk, though.
I
aren't
did.
you?
I did not.
He did. That
I
was
did
a
not.
big old.
Is this a
smirk.
Jeff Ross situation where you're trying to?
I've
cover
already
it
said
up
like
now?
3 times, like, that may be in the popcorn bucket. This one's not.
Once again,
I
Yo,
do like the new one much better than the old one, though.
Yo won the Academy Award for Best Actress in 2023, making her the first Asian person to win that award. She also picked up wins at the SAG Awards, Independent Spirit Awards, and the Golden Globes for her work in the film Everything Everywhere All at Once. Wednesday, Season 2 is now officially filming with Jenna Ortega and a cast that includes guest star Christopher Lloyd, who played Uncle Fester in the movies.
He's got to be like 85 years old.
I was going to ask you, Rockstar, does it excite you that Christopher Lloyd is joining the Wednesday cast for Season 2?
I love Christopher Lloyd. Doc Brown's one of the best characters of all time. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Clue?
Dennis the Menace. Anybody?
I'm not a big fan of that movie.
Yeah.
Never seen it.
Is that Walter Matthau in that
Walter
movie?
Matthau did. Christopher Lloyd played a homeless man or a drifter.
Angels in the Outfield?
I was about to say.
Yes. But yes, what's the one with Michael Keaton and the Dream Team? He plays a psychologist or something like that. But I loved it. I've never seen Wednesday. I won't watch it, but I'm excited to see that he's still doing work. He's 85, 86 years old. Like
Yeah.
he's old. What was the last movie I saw that he was in?
You think about it. Let me know.
Saul, Better Call Saul, Bob Odenkirk. No,
Oh.
Mr. Nobody or Nobody.
Nobody.
Yeah, that's the last Christopher Lloyd I've seen.
John, have you watched any of Wednesday on Netflix?
I have. I love it. I think it's really, really good. Fred Armisen already plays Uncle Fester on it, so I assume
Fred
this will be a different role.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. It's got a pretty decent cast, and I mean that's kind of what really put Jenna Ortega over before Scream and all that. Gwendolyn Christie was in it. Christina Ricci's in it, but playing a different role. It was a good show. I think it was a really good portrayal of Wednesday. I think it's a good kind of alternate take on the Addams Family. So I'm glad they're keeping it going.
Have you watched any of the show, Tyler, Wednesday on Netflix?
I've seen a few episodes. I still need to finish it, though. I'm happy that Christopher Lloyd will pop up in it, though.
Give me some information here, John, about Percy Hines White, who starred in Season 1 as Xavier Thorpe. Reportedly absent from the cast list for Season 2. Is that a big loss?
I'm trying to remember who he is.
I guess not.
It's the ones that play all the guys in this show are pretty much no names. Like the student guys, they're pretty much no names. All the students except for Jenna Ortega, who was kind of a no name, I guess, when they cast it. But I mean, I don't care. Jenna Ortega is the one that makes it work.
There we have it. Jenna Ortega also going to be in Beetlejuice coming up this September, I believe. Is
September 6th.
September 6th. I actually thought the trailer for that looked really good. The teaser trailer really excited me for Beetlejuice, but we'll see how good the movie is. You may remember Disney shareholders recently officially rejected Nelson Peltz's board bid in a big win for CEO Bob Iger. Well, now Iger is speaking about the latest strategy for Marvel. Disney is pulling back on MCU output with a new mission to drop the number of Marvel movies to no more then 3 a year. I thought you would find that funny. And the number of series to 2 per year.
Okay, good.
The Disney CEO spoke on this during the company's quarterly earnings call today. Iger said this is part of Disney's overall strategy to reduce output and focus on quality, a strategy, quote, that's particularly true with Marvel. Quote, we're slowly going to decrease volume and go to probably about 2 TV series a year instead of what had become 4, and reduce our film output from maybe 4 a year to 2 or a maximum of 3, and we're working hard on what that path is. Iger says Marvel has a couple of good films in 2025, and then we're headed to more Avengers, which we're extremely excited about. Overall, I feel great about this slate. It's something that I've committed to spending more and more time on. The team is one that I have tremendous confidence in, and the IP that we're mining, including all the sequels that we're doing, is second to none. Marvel was a box office can't miss for so long, John. It had built up to becoming a series that was averaging $1 billion a film. We've never seen anything like it in Hollywood history. It was a juggernaut, literally. And then they started to lose a little bit of their luster following Endgame, where they couldn't continue to deliver the highs that were expected from the series. And it was more recovering than it was building to a crescendo. Endgame is sort of looked at as the big point in which you follow it up with No Way Home. And it's a very exciting time there for Sony and what they're able to do with the character and everything. But they haven't been able to replicate that level of intensity that Endgame brought in fans expecting greatness when they go to the cinema. And now Marvel films feel completely skippable, and it's overwhelming the amount of content in which we've gotten from Marvel. Is this the right approach to pull back the reins and focus on that quality approach that Marvel has always been synonymous with?
Honestly, what he's saying is actually not any different than it has been. Because you look at the movies, like I pulled up the list of movies. In 2021, they had 4, but that's only because Black Widow got COVID pushed back. 2022, they had 3. 2023, they had 3. 2024, they have 1. Now they have 4 next year, but that's because they're trying to make this all about Deadpool this year. And next year you have Captain America, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four,
So are you saying
Blade.
this is smoke and mirrors?
And then the TV shows, you had 3 last year, but What If, I feel like doesn't, because it's not an MCU show, it's kind of a separate thing. Like, I wouldn't count X-Men 97 in there either. Then when it just comes to shows, in 2023 you had Loki and Secret Invasion. That's it. In 2022 you had Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk. That's 3, but 2 to 3 is not like earth-shatteringly different. So for the last 3 years, it's pretty much been that strategy already. Now, I wouldn't say it has been a total failure because Spider-Man will start in 2021. Spider-Man crushed it. 2022, Doctor Strange made close to $1 billion. Black Panther made close to $1 billion. Now in between, you had Thor: Love and Thunder that underperformed. Last year, you had Guardians, which was like $900 million. Now you had Ant-Man and the Marvels around it that underperformed. And Deadpool this year going to get close to $1 billion, so if not over $1 billion. So there's still plenty of success in there. The problem is it used to be every time success as opposed to pretty good success, stinker, decent success, stinker, like it is now. But the strategy of just that, it's not really any different than what they're doing now.
Yeah, it's inspired me. I'm not going to smoke 10 to 12 cigarettes a day. I'm going to do like 9.
That is kind of what it is.
9 to 11, I think.
You know, and
You
moving,
should be proud of me for
look,
that.
moving forward, I mean, it really depends on how the Avengers hit. You know, it starts with Deadpool, but then after Deadpool, how Fantastic Four hits, and then after that, how the Avengers hit. But, like, I don't know that this strategy from a big picture standpoint is really any different than what they're doing. Now, what I want to see is what exactly those 3 and 2 are every single time. Is it, hey, Loki has worked for us from a TV standpoint, so we're going to focus on that instead of we got to throw some random other TV show like Miss Marvel that didn't really work? Or is it something like from the movie standpoint, we're going to stick with the franchises we know work instead of doing new stuff because we know Guardian still works. I know that probably has a not much of a future there for Marvel, but Deadpool works. Thor has worked plenty in the past, so we'll go with that. That's the strategy I want to know is what are those 3 movies a year? What are those 2 TV shows a year?
Smuff has asked whether or not it'll be new Avengers or they'll be bringing back the A-Team. And
Both.
I think it's going to be a blend, but I would not expect Scarlett Johansson to be coming back anytime soon, especially with what we saw with the actual character of Black Widow, but also what we saw from Scarlett Johansson deciding she's going to sue Disney. I think that
Did that ever get resolved?
There was a settlement. I mean,
gotcha.
they ended up.
Yeah, but that was Scarlet. That
avoiding
wasn't Black
anything.
Widow. Black Widow had nothing to do with it.
No,
Exactly.
You do have Black Widow. It's just Florence Pugh now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. In the theme parks division, revenue rose 10%, but operating income was up 14%. Disney's theatrical revenue dropped year over year, and revenue in the linear network segment declined 8%. However, Disney direct-to-consumer entertainment streaming, encompassing Disney Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus Hotstar, scored its first profitable quarter. However, Disney's overall streaming business was still in the red for the quarter when factoring in ESPN Plus, which had an operating loss of $65 million. The company reiterated the expectation that its combined streaming operations will achieve profitability in the September 2024 quarter. So they're going to try to use all the momentum that they have with Disney Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus Hotstar, which is going well, and try to get ESPN Plus to catch up to speed to where it's not looked at as the sinking ship.
It seems like Disney Plus and Hulu have kind of been basically combined to make one. Like you can access Hulu through Disney Plus now and all that. That I feel like the only way for ESPN Plus to be profitable is to actually give a separate ESPN that you can just buy. And I know that's been a debate for a long time because that's where how cable packages make their money. But you're never going to make money on ESPN Plus with just keeping it the way it is. Now, ultimately, is it end up profitable that their loss doesn't hurt where Disney Plus is? I can see that come September or whatever they're talking about. But like that's always going to be in the red until you just offer straight up ESPN.
Disney now facing challenges and competition from places they were not previously, not only in the entertainment sector, but also in streaming of live sports. You're seeing everybody wanting to get in on this game and making deals with the leagues themselves in order to be able to have those exclusive rights, which is going to only cause more headaches for ESPN and their streaming properties. Let's move on to this. Yesterday, we got the first picture of James Gunn's take on Superman. David Corenswet debuts as Superman in theaters July 11th, 2025. Gunn and Safran's new DC universe will launch with superheroes such as Superman, Batman, and Supergirl, but Wonder Woman has not yet been announced for the new franchise. All of this as actor Chris Pine, who played love interest Steve Trevor in the films, says he is shocked that Warner Brothers axed Wonder Woman 3 and ended Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot's franchise, saying, quote, "I'm stunned that they said no to a billion-dollar franchise and decided to pivot elsewhere. I don't know what the reasoning was behind that. It's above my pay grade, but Wonder Woman is an incredible character. Patty is such a thoughtful director."
That's just a DCEU big picture thing, not like a shot just at Wonder Woman. It surprises me that he can't see, okay, the whole thing wasn't working. Our thing was working, because overall Wonder Woman worked. But
Wonder Woman 84 was a dud on all accounts.
It was.
Why is he not bringing that up? Like a $1 billion franchise. Yeah, because the first one,
The first one made $1 billion.
it lost steam just like everything in the DCEU did.
now the only defense I'll give to Wonder Woman 84, God, I don't even remember the title.
There you go.
The only defense I'll give to Wonder Woman 84 is it was like right there in COVID. They decided to do, that was like the first big HBO Max release, whatever.
But
that
the film
I
sucked.
know the film sucked, but you get butts in the seats opening weekend that you did not get.
You disappoint
with
more
with
people.
this.
Yeah.
But you at least make some money from their disappointment that you didn't make with this.
How much
Wonder
was in
Woman-
the budget for their invisible jet?
Hey, you could get it for
This
nothing.
is $600 million.
We actually have a prop of it right here in
I
studio.
know, I can tell.
You
That's why I
just-
can't move my
This
legs.
is a die-cast model of it
Just
right
cannot see it.
But anyway, I agree. I don't disagree with what he's saying about just Wonder Woman, the character. Wonder Woman, the character, worked within the DCEU. Just the whole DCEU didn't work to where
This
you
is
can't-
called him trying to be a friend to Patty Jenkins and him trying to be a friend to
He
Gal
wants to be
Gadot.
cast in that Rogue Squadron movie she's going to do.
Maybe so. He's got no loss at all by saying, "Oh, I don't know why they stopped the Wonder Woman films," because in his interview with Business Insider, Pine said that he doubted he would have even returned for Wonder Woman 3 because his character is, quote, "dead and gonzo,"
They made it work for
adding
84.
it would be ridiculous to try to bring me back. So
With a girl that
It
has
was
a lasso
already
of
ridiculous
truth,
when they brought it
this would
back.
be ridiculous to bring him back. Okay.
Literally, the whole purpose of 84 is he comes back in a different body, but as you, the viewer, you just see him as Chris Pine, but he's actually some other random
It's like
dude.
Quantum Leap.
It is
basically Quantum Leap.
It was bizarre.
yesterday we spoke about chemistry. Two people that definitely have it are Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock. Do we agree with this?
Well, yeah, that's good. It's good.
Sandra Bullock, it's still crush from Finding Nemo
Finding
is what
Nemo.
you're doing. Sandra Bullock says that, quote, before I die, before I leave this planet, I do think that Keanu Reeves and I need to do something in front of the camera. And then Reeves added, quote, it does feel like there is a siren call to do it, like there's something that wasn't done. I would love to work with you again before our eyes close. This is like
Speed 3? Has
Pretty
there been a
intense.
Speed 3?
No, can they make a Lake House 2?
Keanu Reeves is more than confident that he and Sandra Bullock could pull off a third Speed movie. Their 1994 action thriller Speed became the fourth highest grossing movie of that year with $350 million worldwide. That's in 94 money, which is really good. During a joint interview on the 50 Mile Per Hour podcast, Reeves had this to say about Speed 3. I mean, we'd freaking knock it out of the park.
Well, he said yes to Bill and Ted. I think he's up to it. He said yes to The Matrix.
That is true.
I think he's up to it. John Wick, like, how many are we doing? 54. I'm good.
I would go see a Speed 3.
I'd go see it.
Wasn't Sandra Bullock not in Speed 2?
No,
Keanu wasn't in Speed 2.
Keanu wasn't in Speed 2.
Keanu wasn't in Speed 2.
May remember that only Bullock returned for the 1997 sequel Speed 2 Cruise Control, which was an infamous box office and critical flop. Bullock told TooFab in 2022 that, quote, I'm still embarrassed I was in it. It is a horrible movie. Speed
It's a great
2.
name, though. It's Cruise Control. Because
Cruise Control.
Cruise.
Get it? Just
Yeah.
leave it over 55 and then hit
Yeah.
cruise control.
Keanu Reeves read the script for it and was like, oh, it's Speed on a boat? No, thanks. This isn't the direction I want to go. And Sandra Bullock obviously said,
to crack a wicked wave.
how much money are you going to be giving me?
I'm Neo.
Still
That's
Crush
better.
from Turtle
That's
Talk.
better, but I still see Crush.
The long-running feud between Taylor Swift and Scooter Braun is set to be explored in a new docu-series commissioned
Heck yeah.
by Warner Brothers Discovery UK and Ireland. The documentary is set to air in the UK and Ireland on Discovery Plus in June. No word yet on a U.S. release, but I'm sure it's going to be coming out. Tentatively titled Taylor Swift versus Scooter Braun Bad Blood. The two-part documentary is part of Warner Brother UK's Versus series, which includes Johnny versus Amber about the legal battle between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and Kim versus Kanye, the divorce, about Kim Kardashian's separation from Kanye West. The doc will focus on the fallout between Swift and Braun after the music mogul purchased the rights to Swift's first 6 albums in a $300 million deal in June of 2019. John, is this something you would like to stream at home alongside your wife, Laurel?
Yes, that whole thing is fascinating, but that's what led to then her doing Taylor's versions of all her other albums that she has made absolute bank on. She has definitely gotten the last laugh in that whole thing. And then you could do Bad Blood 2 with Kendrick Lamar and Drake's feud going on because he also did Bad Blood with her. So it was a Taylor Swift, Kendrick Lamar
A lot of blood.
songs. There you go. You can have Bad Blood 1 with her versus Scooter Braun, and then have Bad Blood 2 with the current feud with Kendrick Lamar and Drake.
Well, this is going to be a 2-part series here on the Taylor Swift and Braun docu-series, and episode 1 is going to be from one of their vantage points, and episode 2 is going to be from the other person's vantage point. And that is what they're going to do with this series, it looks like. Would there be any interest in watching Johnny versus Amber or Kim versus Kanye?
I don't really care about Kim versus Kanye. The Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial was kind of fascinating, but the thing I would want to see there is I would love to actually see exactly what happened because it's coming from two different sides where you kind of get a mixed story of what actually happened between the two of them. That's one of those that you'll never probably fully know, but I would love to see a fictionalized tale of it 20 years from now.
We are getting the very first reactions to George Miller's Furiosa. They've trickled in on social media ahead of the movie's world premiere later this month at the Cannes Film Festival. And it appears the Mad Max Fury Road director has another amazing action epic on his hands, according to early reports. This is what IndieWire film critic David Ehrlich wrote on X. Quote, brings me great joy to report that Furiosa is really, really blanking good. Operates in an extremely different gear than Fury Road in ways that I suspect will frustrate some people, but also manages to make that movie even richer while carving its own legend in the wasteland. Entertainment writer and New York Films Critics Circle member Esther Zuckerman called the film great, while Fandango's Eric Davis called the movie powerhouse action filmmaking at its absolute best. Does this excite you more for Mad Max Furiosa, Tyler Johns?
Yes, it does. If I If I could find an early access screening, I would already have my tickets, but I can't, so I'll be there on general opening night.
Who knows what's going to happen? I think we are seeing these studios starting to push more and more towards Wednesday being the night of releases now because they figure, hey, we're leaving money on the table by not having that extra day added into the results.
Seems that way. Then we'll get to Tuesday. Then we'll get to Monday. Next thing you know, we'll be back at Friday.
Yeah, exactly. Everything will just shift a week earlier. Davis posted, by the way, quote, a ferocious and relentlessly paced epic that expands the story of Furiosa in the wasteland while delivering the craziest chases, the most bombastic characters, and just plain stunning cinematography. Anya Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth equally dive all the way into the wasteland and both deliver some incredible stuff. There's one war rig sequence that blew my mind, an instant classic. I love the Mad Max movies, and I loved this film. Start your engines. John, are you getting your engines revved up by all of this early praise?
I am. The first trailer didn't really do it for me, and I had not seen Mad Max at that point. Then I watched Fury Road I had not seen, and now I've seen Fury Road. That was good, not great, but I can respect it for what it was. The scenes were very much a spectacle, and then seeing the second trailer of this that was much better done, because I feel the first trailer was too much of Chris Hemsworth being goofy, and I don't think goofy when I think these movies.
Horrible acting.
And he probably still will be goofy, and I can understand goofiness taking place within this universe, kind of like a mad scientist kind of goofy, but this one focused more on Anya Taylor-Joy and the story that's ultimately going to be told with her, and so that has me a little more excited. Plus, I really like her as an actress. That makes me way more excited, so I am very much looking forward to it.
There's tons more praise I could get to, but I will say this. Speaking to Total Film Magazine last month, Miller's longtime producing partner, Doug Mitchell, let it slip that Furiosa contains one 15-minute sequence which took 78 days to shoot and required
dang.
200 stunt people on the set. That there's a 15-minute sequence in this movie
Better be good.
that took 78 days to shoot that 15-minute sequence.
All those bombastic characters.
Required 200 stunt people on the set every single one of those 78 days. So this is the real Fall Guy.
Yes.
I mean, this is how it's really done. So
I will say when I did my Lunce's list of best stunt performers, Mad Max made the list, and then when I started looking into it, like they had 300 stunt people or whatever that were a part of that one too. And every time George Miller would be like, you know what, guys, we can handle that with CGI. Every time they were like, no. Yeah. Like, this is like our love letter to the stunt community. Yeah. We're going to make it happen no matter what, and no matter how long it takes us. And so I assume it's the same here, that it's like, you guys do what you're going to do. Like, you guys are great at what you do. Get it done the right way. Get it done practically however you can. Not that there's not going to be CGI involved with it, but that made me have a whole new respect for everything after having seen the movie. That then with this, that I assume it's the one war rig sequence that other guy
seems
said.
To be.
That's when you walk out of this, like, that right there may not be the greatest movie of the year, but come Oscar season, it won every single technical award. Fury Road did, that this could be on the same track.
Furiosa opens up in theaters May 24th from Warner Brothers after its Cannes world premiere. Rockstar, would you like to make this one of those movies you go out and see with us opening night?
Yeah, I really enjoyed Fury Road. I love the cinematography.
Okay.
I'm not a big Tom Hardy fan, but I thought it was a great film. What was the bad guy's name?
I don't.
I like this. A great looking bad guy.
I know who you're talking
Joe.
about.
Yeah, like that. I just love that concept. I wasn't a big Mad Max fan, Mel Gibson wise.
That character is in this one, a younger version
Yes,
of him.
yes.
Thunderdome.
This
was
is
good.
a prequel to
I
Fury
enjoyed
Road.
Thunderdome as a kid, but yeah.
The Strangers has 3 movies being released in one calendar year, all of which
It's
were
like
written.
strangers to us. Then they're really familiarizing themselves with us, aren't they, Tim? Go ahead.
That's true. Strange no longer. All of these movies were written as one 285-page script, and they decided to cut them up into 3 movies. Director Rennie Harlan says, quote, "This was such an opportunity to have 4.5 hours of a case study of victims of a violent crime and the perpetrators. That's what I'm looking for. And what makes them tick and how it affects a person who goes through this. The original 2008 film, inspired by real-life break-ins and the Charles Manson murders, starred Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman as a not-so-happy couple who get an unwelcome knock at their door in the middle of the night. They turn away a creepy woman asking, is Tamara home, but are soon plagued by masked, knife-wielding home invaders. The movie became a sleeper hit, making $82 million off of a $9 million budget, and 10 years later it spawned a sequel, The Strangers Pray at Night, with a different cast. I remember the hype going into The Strangers. The trailer would scare everyone who saw it. I'd see that trailer so many times with a live audience leading up until its release. I thought it was going to be an all-time classic, and I think The Strangers was just okay. Middle of the pack, just run-of-the-mill horror movie. I did not think it was something that changed the game very much. It took 10 years to get a sequel. The sequel is not nearly as good as the original, but there is one great sequence in a pool that I will constantly try to bug John to actually watch. It's really good and looks like it's inspired by our favorite band. However, we are about to get 3 Strangers movies in the course of 1 calendar year. 9 to 12 months, we're going to be getting 3 of these things. This new
Obviously
one,
not a Disney production.
this Chapter 1 movie, it's really a reboot. It's not a movie that is a total shot-for-shot comparison to the original, but the events of the original and the events of this one seem to correlate. This one comes out about a week from now. Tyler, how excited are you to have more of The Strangers in our life?
I mean, I'm expecting them to be all right. I don't expect anything game-changing. I like the original Strangers, but it's probably like a 6.5, 7 out of 10 for me. Nothing that I hold super dearly to my heart, but I'll be at all 3 Strangers releases, sadly.
John
And that's
makes fun
why they
of us.
keep doing that to us.
Yeah, we're going to go see them.
They will continue to be strangers to me.
The ambitious rollout resulted in a 52-day shoot in the Slovakian wilderness under veteran director Rennie Harlin. Harlin has directed installments of Nightmare on Elm Street, The Exorcist, plus action thrillers like Die Hard 2 and Cliffhanger. Over his 40-year career, he shot the Strangers trilogy interchangeably. He started shooting with the opening of Chapter 2, and then he did a scene from Chapter 3, and so on. So this thing was shot all over the
It's like
place.
Lord of the Rings.
And they've decided to piece it together on the back end of this. Though there aren't premiere dates for the 2 sequels, he estimates they will be released in September or October, the second one, and then wrap up in the beginning of next year for the third one. Similarly, in 2003, The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions were released within 6 months of each other, and then horror director Ty West released X and Pearl half a year apart in 2022, with Maxine coming out this summer on July 5th. If you're looking to avoid strangers with blunt instruments, then you need to go get to know my dentist. By taking a trip to Grants Mill Road at Alabama Dental Associates, led by Dr. Jeff and Dr. Brian, you'll get to know the best team in the business. I love visiting the professional dental team that they've put together, knowing I'm taking care of myself the best way that I can. They started off maybe as strangers, but then they quickly became family. I spent years having anxiety about the dentist, never being able to find the right fit for my needs, but now I have found that solution, and I'm so happy to share it with you. They not only have all the latest advancements in dental healthcare technology, but they also have the friendliest staff in town. If you're ready to find that perfect dental team, then make sure you reach out to Alabama Dental Associates. Call them at 205-956-8977, or you can visit alabamadental.com as they look forward to seeing you. It's now time for Lunce's List. Here at the Meltdown, you may or may not know this, but we love video games. They help with hand-eye coordination. They help with problem solving. They help develop teamwork. They help blow off steam. But occasionally, the hero's journey becomes interrupted by that boss that not only blocks your path, but also captures your imagination. Which video game bosses have had that iconic look that have made an impression that has lasted? It's time now for John to level us up with this brand new edition of Lunce's List.
What is this? What is this? Lunce's List, Lunce's List, oh. What is this? What is this? Lunce's List, Lunce's List, oh. Lunce's List to five. Lunce's List to five. Lunce's List to five. Lunce's List to five.
All right, John, it is time to name the 5 video game bosses that you have always felt had a really awesome look to them, regardless of the difficulty it took to beat them. How did you approach this list?
Yeah, this is one of those that, like, there's some that are just iconic that if you really look through every single boss in a game, you may say, oh, this one kind of was cooler, but, like, some are just iconic, you know? So there's a lot of names on here that people have heard of. It's not like, oh, well, the random squid boss from this 1/3 version of a game was really cool. That some are just iconic, and, you know, maybe not every time. You know, if they pop up multiple times, they may not always look cool, but there's cool versions of them that's, you know, I can very vividly remember fighting and enjoying the spectacle of it all, whether ultimately I shot once and they were dead or it ended up being a 10-hour long fight.
Did anybody ever play Conker's Bad Fur Day?
The giant poo.
I did not.
The Great and Mighty
The
Poo
Great
or
Mighty
whatever?
Poo, yeah.
That's one of my favorite bosses of all time. I don't know if it made the list, but we will see.
I thought about it, but I thought, I'm not going to include that. 'Cause
I am the Great and Mighty Poo.
I never actually played the game, but I have seen that clip and I've seen it play out a million times. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't that made by the creators of Banjo-Kazooie?
Sounds right.
Yes, I believe so.
Sounds right.
Sounds like a rare game.
Rare. Yeah, that's who did it.
Let's go up to number 5 on Lunce's list. And for those that maybe are not aware of what these characters look like, John is going to have some visual representation. At number 5, we are starting with I have no idea. I've seen half of it, but I don't know.
Brumok from Gears of War. I've never played Gears of War.
I thought it was Gearso 4.
Okay, I've run out of room and I get so crazy. The Brumac from Gears of War. So this Gears of War is a game I was really, really into. Played competitively for a while. It's a game that basically one day everybody's just sitting there and all of a sudden from the ground comes an alien race that's been lying underground for a while and they just wreck the planet and you play a part of a special military force that's trying to stop them. The main character voiced by John DiMaggio, who yesterday made Lunce's list as well, plays Marcus Phoenix in this. So this is what a Brumac looks like, and it's basically a gigantic, I don't call it like a dinosaur, but it kind of has a dinosaur look, but it's giant with a big mouth, and they just deck him out in like tons of machine guns and rocket launchers and stuff. It is terrifying to look at.
It's a Rancor.
Kind of has a Rancor look.
Yeah.
That's a good comparison.
That's Terminator Rancor.
That's pretty terrifying, a Terminator Rancor. It's not the hardest boss to beat because it's slow, so it's pretty easy to fight. Like there's one called a Berserker in this. It's basically just like a really big humanoid character, but it's really fast and will like charge at you, and it's more terrifying. But there's also a character or a monster in it that I don't think you ever fight as a single boss. This you fight as a single boss, and then as the games evolve, you start having like multiple ones, and they're just basically just characters that you fight in the game as the wars become bigger and everything. But there's a character or a monster called a Corpser that's kind of like a big spider that's basically this size that takes over. And then the bad guy in the first game, his name is General Ram, R-A-A-M. And he's kind of terrifying, but the fight was awful, and he looked terrible in the fight. The concept art for him was a lot more terrifying. But this is a picture from a fight in the first game, and they're everywhere in this franchise that I have a lot of affinity for.
Nice. Let's go to number 4 on Lunce's list, and everybody in the live chat watching us right now, we'd appreciate those thumbs up. Make sure you spam that thumbs up there on the live stream. We appreciate your support of the channel as we move on to number 4 on Lunce's list, counting down the most iconic looking
Bowser's this low?
the most iconic looking bosses in the history of video games. At number 4, Bowser from Bowser's Fury. In particular, this is a more evil and sinister looking Bowser.
Correct. Bowser in general, I mean, he's got that look, and like how he looked in the movie, you know, is a good iconic look and everything.
You've got fatigue, be honest. You've got a little fatigue, and you're putting up there as respect.
A little bit. I got to find the picture, but
Hit your browser.
there we go. It's labeled as Mario. So this is it from the game. He's a gigantic, like silver, full of fire. I mean, I know he's full of fire anyway, but like it's kind of a terrifying version of Bowser that you have to fight in this game. The game itself was kind of whatever. It's not a more memorable game. It's Super Mario 3D World, Bowser's Fury, and it's kind of like I won't call it an expansion pack, but it's kind of like an alternate version of it. But obviously, he's the main boss in Mario and is at the end of pretty much every Mario game. But I think this is definitely like the most badass version of Bowser that's so big and cool, and I like the metallic look of him and everything.
So basically, the Godzilla version of Bowser is what you like.
So it looks like giant dry Bowser.
So does he wake up and put those bracelets on, or do they sleep with them?
I've always wondered that myself.
I think they stay on.
That would hurt, yeah.
Nonstop.
Yeah.
Okay. They're like friendship bracelets for himself. Yeah. Let's go to number 3 on Lunce's list, counting down the 5 most iconic looking baddies in all of video game history, as we have had the king of the Koopas himself, Bowser, at number 4. Where are we going for number 3? I feel like Tyler is getting very amped up with this list. Like, if he's got a third win now of, like, what is he going to go with?
Earthworm Jim? No.
From World of Warcraft. Never played it.
Deathwing.
So I can't comment on this one.
So there are a ton of examples I could have used from World of Warcraft, but Deathwing was the main bad guy in Cataclysm, the 3rd expansion pack. Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm, yeah. 3rd expansion pack. He is a gigantic dragon that basically they used to be like a world-ending kind of dragon, that he flies over the major cities, and just him flying over the major cities like completely wrecked the city and wrecked the landscape and everything. They used it as a way to kind of freshen up the game, that the areas you went, instead of looking the same, it kind of gets destroyed, and so it kind of has like a new look and new mountains emerge and stuff like that. But basically the whole fight, you have to he's so big, you have to get up on his body and like get up under his scales and like try to like basically injure him that way, that then a bunch of other dragons can come and help you win the battle. It's the only one I can think of that's like that. It's like so big we couldn't just kill him ourselves.
The fight just drags on.
It does drag on. I got it. Yeah,
It's okay.
But anyway, he still has ramifications to this day, and that came out in 2010, and like we're still dealing with it today in World of Warcraft, which is celebrating its 20th anniversary this year in November. But yeah, he's really, really cool. The honorable mention I do have, you said I can only choose one per game, or I probably would have done multiple World of Warcrafts. But this one is a character named Ragnaros that's really, really cool looking. That's like a fire god of some sort that you have to fight. He is really, really cool. And then Garrosh Hellscream from it. Rocky's laughing. Everything.
I laugh. I was like, the names that gets me. This is Kadushkin Karoya.
This is who I model my character after in the game.
Head.
That has a really cool axe, really cool like shoulder armor and stuff. And this is what my character looks like in the game. That I have like the same shoulders and the same axe and everything. Not quite as cool as the concept art, but
It's got like elephant tusks as shoulder pads.
it's they're Manaroth. They're basically like half elephant, half humanoid. Kind of like, imagine like a centaur, but like more elephant style. It's kind of what they're like. But
the concept art was a picture that people use on Tinder, and the other one's when they show up for the actual date.
that is pretty much it.
My God, that looks like Zangief on droids.
I want to go ahead, John, and get to number 2. We are running short on time here. We've got plenty of things to get to. So number 2 on Lunce's list, this would have just been a World of Warcraft list had I not prohibited multiple selections. But Deathwing gets me very excited for Game of Thrones to come back. Number 2.
Smuff says you should have put Leroy Jenkins on that list, John.
It's not a boss, but yeah.
Or Oryx.
Oh yeah, that's a solid raid.
Destiny 2.
So Oryx is the main boss on the King's Fall raid in Destiny 2. This is him. He's one of those larger than life people too. It's a fight that involves a lot of communication and everybody being in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing between 6 people in the raid in Destiny 2. But it's a great boss, probably the best boss from the whole series. Since then, it's kind of fallen off, and I've kind of quit playing Destiny. But it's an incredible boss, and yeah, I don't know. The design of it's kind of cool, and I like Oryx. He's a cool guy.
Pretty daunting. Looks like something you would see in the movie Alien from 1979, which, by the way, we have a retro trailer reaction up to right now on the channel. That's a cheap plug,
yeah,
but it works. All right, number 1 on Lunce's list. I'm sorry to be rushing through here, John.
So this one's going to be
Oryx.
Ganon, right?
I can tell Tyler's
I've been waiting for
getting
him all
very
day.
upset here.
Yep, there he is. There he is.
Don't you love it when people shout out what number 1 is on the list before you get a chance to write it?
Yes, Ganondorf.
Ganondorf?
Pretty much every version. He's the bad guy in Zelda. Every Zelda game.
I was going to say Zelda. I had no idea this was a bad guy.
Yeah. Anyway, this is Calamity Ganon from Breath of the Wild, which is a cool model of him that you fight in games now. He has multiple versions you go through. In this one, you have this version. He turns into a giant boar that you chase around. Did you ever play Breath of the Wild?
Yes, I did.
He's like a giant boar that you chase around. You get to shoot. It's a really cool fight. One of the coolest things about this game, I know we're talking about the character design more than anything, but one of the coolest things about Breath of the Wild is you literally can come out of the starting area and go and fight Ganon if you want to.
I'm stuck on one part of Breath of the Wild with my daughter, and I cannot get through it, and I feel like less of a father every single time I get defeated. And so I need you to come over, help me beat this one part, and then I need you to quickly leave, John. Can you do that?
I can try.
Thank you.
I thought I had another photo to kind of show what he looks like in general, but yeah, that's Ganon. He's a really cool boss. You fight him at the end of all of them. I say my favorite is I like this design. My favorite fight overall is probably Twilight Princess, because you have to fight a possessed Zelda in that. You have to fight him as a monster. You get into like just a legit sword fight with him at the end. And then Wind Waker is a really good fight with him as well. And the way you kill him is you on top of the head with your sword. It's very graphic for Zelda, but anyway.
There we have it. Lunce's list of the 5 villains that look the most iconic, regardless of their difficulty to beat. And it is a list that has made so many people happy, while others are contributing their own list here in the chat, and we appreciate that very much. John, you have quite a boss fight coming up less than 24 hours from now with Meltdown Triple Threat Trivia. And I, at this point, would like if both Tyler and Rocky's mics could be muted so that they can enjoy this latest video message that we have received. John, you have not seen this. You are not aware what is contained within this, but it is one of your competitors, Brian Pavlik, who has decided to lay down the gauntlet and become maybe the ultimate boss tomorrow. We'll see, as he is also looking to compete for the championship. Let's take a look at this.
What's up, Pavlov's dogs? It's Pavlik, doing some intense training and some studying for this week's Triple Threat Trivia. I've seen a lot of good things about my opponents, but they're not this week's defending champion. The flowers are still smelling fresh from my victory this week. But now, I've got 2 formidable opponents in this week's Triple Threat Trivia title competition. And I'd like to address both of them. You see, Lunsford, we're friends outside of the show. I'm glad that you're feeling better, but I didn't miss you. No. You see, I wouldn't have want to waste those flowers on a man with no nose anymore. I hope the lack of oxygen didn't do any damage to the brain. How about next time you have a procedure that works on your taste? I've never met a man more excited to see the upcoming A24 schedule and talk about who the boom operators are going to be. Movies nobody cares about, dude. Speaking of taste, you look like the kind of guy who would go see Cats in 3D, sing all the songs because it was a part of the Taylor Swift Felines era. So Lunce, grab your one good hoodie, because your cold streak in trivia is going to continue this week as I turn you inside out. Now let's talk about that Leslie Jordan lookalike, the one who can't keep his tongue in his mouth anytime he's around EG. And that's Spud. Spud, we've never met in person. And I was always taught to respect my elders. So first, Spud, I want to thank you for your service in the war. Just remind me, did you fight for the North or did you fight for the South? Here's what's going to happen with you, buckaroo. I'm going to send you on a one-way ticket to Orlando so you can go hang out with your friends at the Hall of Presidents only because you couldn't get on It's a Small World due to height requirements. You see, Spud, you're good at trivia, but I would be too if I was the attorney who helped Thomas Edison get all the patents for his inventions. You think the worst mistake you ever made was spilling Tyler's perfectly concocted Culver's custard in your car, you haven't sat across from the Pavlov dog yet. Now, both of you, listen up. You've become household names through Triple Threat Trivia. But you know what else is a household name? Trash. Just like your game. And this one isn't on the table. Buckle up. See you tomorrow, boys. Because this dog is off his leash. Wolf.
Okay, the gauntlet has been laid down there from Brian Pavlik. John, what is your immediate reaction here?
Well, first off, I watched last week. I have nothing to fear. Second, I love how he got flowers for winning a number one contenders match when I have won multiple number one contenders matches and never gotten flowers for it. So I'm glad he got a fake prize for winning a fake award there because
Those were very real flowers, John.
I'm pretty sure going into the final round or round before the final round, everybody had negative points going in. So competition wasn't much. Yeah.
You feel personally attacked over the hoodie? Is that part of it?
Hey, I love my comfortable hoodies.
Do you work on your
Sorry,
triceps?
I'm not decked out in my Haunted Mansion gear. You talk about failed movies from last year. But,
Who ran booms for Love Lies Bleeding? that was my favorite part of that. Of that
no idea
little
who
video.
ran booms. I'm sorry. I talk about the movies from the distribution and production company that win every Oscar.
Boom.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Leslie
don't-
Jordan.
Yeah, all I got to say is, number one, Spud has beaten everybody multiple times. And second, last week was pretty weak, and I already won the number one contenders match before that. So, I've never had negative points, and he had negative points the entire time until, like, the last round. So,
Who's the bigger threat to you? Is it Spud or is it Pavlik?
oh, Spud. Easy.
Easy? Not even
Easy.
close?
No, not even close.
Spud says if you're looking for Spud, he'll be on the high road. He's talking about himself in third person. So
Yeah.
Spud deciding not to play these games of
John, don't
mental
play that game.
intimidation. But the chat seems to be loving what Pavlik did by
Pavlov dog.
Pavlov dog
Yeah,
did.
where the heck did that come from?
That's his moniker, man. I mean, he's getting ferocious
I
with
think
it.
he's ever seen a wrestling match.
You know, I'm not going to go by Spud instead of Mark. I'm not going to go by Pavlov Dog instead of Brian. I'm just John. Just John. So,
It is going to be an all-time title match tomorrow, right here on the channel. Make sure you are tuned in right at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Central. You don't want to miss this one. Spud is, I think, coming back into town with trophy in hand to put it up on the line. I haven't spoken much to him other than him saying he'll be on the high road. But I think we will have a champion defending his title against number one contender John Lunsford and the other number one contender
Number two
in
contender,
Brian
I like to call
Pavlik.
it.
John will get first dibs on where he ends up answering questions because he was the first number one contender. Brian will get second choice, and we will see what happens tomorrow. You won't want to miss it. Tyler, I know you're excited for this matchup.
Yeah. Can't wait to see what happens.
you guys are excited for the USFL, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh.
Tyler's just upset that he will not be competing in the number one contenders match
He
because
had two chances.
I didn't want to say that. I was going to leave that up to the imagination. Didn't quite work out, but he will be here as that helpful trivia aid, and I look forward to seeing his contributions. Rockstar, always appreciate you being on the show. I know you're
Thanks for having me. I want to cut him real quick. Thanks for having me.
Okay, thank you very much. That's going to do it for us here on The Meltdown. Make sure you give us a thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe if you have not yet already, and we will see you tomorrow for Meltdown Triple Threat Trivia.